Developers are always saying not to overdo it on your games. They say not to overscope all the time, especially as a beginner. And of course, that makes total sense, which is why I'm making an RPG, and it's going to be open world, and I'm a beginner.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Alright guys, behind me is my twin brother Jonas. He's an actual developer. Jonas, what do you think about me making an open world RPG as a beginner dev?
Freaking suck, yo!
Alright guys, let's get straight to work. So you might be wondering why I, an absolute beginner, am trying to make an open world. Well, of course, hopefully it's good for views. Not gonna lie, we've kind of been falling off recently. Actually, there's nowhere to fall off from. We've kind of been selling in that department. But anyways, let's talk about the game plan for this RPG, okay? So, of course, if I'm gonna pull this off, I'm gonna need a point of reference, which is, of course, is gonna be one of the greatest video games of all time, The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, which is a great open world RPG. So basically, I'm gonna be making that game in its entirety, except cutting out 90% of the content and stripping away everything that made it a masterpiece, so I don't fill out this miserably. Alright, so let's go over the game plan, guys. So in my eyes, there's three things that make a good RPG, okay? Combat, exploration, and progression. They have to follow these pillars in some sort of way, okay? So for combat, alright, we're going to keep it simple. I'm not super good at making this kind of stuff, but I still want it to be decent and better than what I've made before. I want responsiveness with effects like hit reactions, attacks, and attack combos, and sound effects, that kind of stuff, okay? Exploration, okay? So I'm not going to make a huge world with like dense and things to explore because I don't have that kind of time, but it is going to be somewhat good looking, and it is going to be pretty much an open world. It's going to feel pretty massive and open for the player to roam and explore. And then of course progression. Alright, now I don't have time to make things like boss fights and looting and stuff like that. Of course, I don't even know how to make that stuff, but I am going to be trying to make my first leveling system that basically each time you kill an enemy you get XP, and when you level up you do more damage. Now I've actually never made this system before, but based off what I know of variables, I should be able to figure this out. And with that out of the way, let's get straight into development. First, I implemented a basic 3-hit combo. With my previous games, the player only had one attack animation, so I was pretty glad I could implement this without any issues. Right away, I knew the model I got from Mixamo wouldn't cut it. It would be a fine placeholder, but of course, I got to work on making my own 3D model with a low poly aesthetic. Alright guys, really quick, a progress update. So first things first, I improved the 3-hit combo. First of all, I made it a lot more streamlined. Before you'd have to wait for the entire animation to finish until you can move on to the next attack. Now you don't have to. You just have to wait like a little bit, so it makes things a lot more streamlined. I also quickened the animations, so you know, you don't have to wait until the character's completely done with the animation to do the next attack, which made it feel like a lot slower and stuff. Next thing I did too is before, when you attacked, your next attack would automatically be the next attack in the attack animation, but I made it where if you wait long enough, it's gonna automatically make you do your first attack. The reason I do this is because most 3-hit combos, this is how it works. You have to do the attacks in like succession to get the next animation like this. So, you know, pretty basic stuff, but I think pretty happy with how that's going really quick. And then I do want to show off that I made a cool like 3D model. I 3D modeled a cool stylized character here. I'm keeping it low poly because I am thinking I'm probably gonna be making the models for all these characters here myself. So I want it to be like not too hard, but actually I know it's basic, but it did take a long time because I had to 3D model all the clothing on top of him and his hair, which is my first time doing that. So I'm pretty happy with it, but I am very inexperienced when it comes to unwrapping, making seams, and texturing, so I'm probably going to wait until my brother can help me with that. In the meantime, I'll use the placeholder models, but until then, I'm just going to keep on working on the combat, so I'll get back to you guys when I have an update. Alright, new update to the combat system. It's pretty much finished, so now enemies, they will chase you, and then he has his own attack cycle, like animation cycle, kind of like the player does. So there's a little 3-hit cycle right there. And then, of course, if my health gets all the way down, he'll kill me. So there, I die. And then, vice versa, I can kill him really quick. And then he'll die. And then also, you'll see over there, on that enemy over there, earlier he was chasing me. However, if they do not see the player, then they will randomly roam around. So right now he's stationary because what they'll do is they'll wait for a random amount of time before moving around. So it's like, it's pretty random, but yeah, basically they have random roaming, and then once they see the player, they'll chase the player, and then they'll attack the player. And then now they also have attack cycles, kind of like the player, attack combos, kind of like the player. So that's pretty good. I don't know why it's taking so long for him to move. I might have to change the time that it takes. Anyways, I'll look into that. But anything else I'll probably add is I'm probably gonna try to make some hit reactions, so maybe blood effects or something, sound effects obviously later on, and then of course like a health bar or something. So I'm probably gonna get to work on that soon. Also, if you're a regular on the channel, you might recognize these skeletons. These are actually the same exact model as the enemies used in Night Jumper, a low poly 3D platformer I made a while back. I know it doesn't really look like it matches the aesthetic at all, but keep in mind we're going to be replacing this character with the low poly warrior guy I 3D modeled, so I think this will fit fine probably, but I do plan on making a new enemy for the game as well, but this definitely helps as like a good starter. So okay, I finally finished the 3D model with animations, which I'm really happy with how it turned out. So let me show you guys. So a lot different than what I showed you before. He has all of his armor and his hair is done, everything. He's textured perfectly. I know it's basic, but honestly I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. So I think it's really cool. And then if I press play, the animations are retargeted to match him. I think it works really well. I do also definitely plan on making a new enemy. I don't know if I'll replace the enemy. I might keep the skeleton, I'm not sure, but I'm definitely gonna make a new one at the least that looks a little bit better. And yeah, just like, yeah, definitely to fit the art style a bit more. These guys, they kind of fit the art style, but I'm not 100% sure if I want to keep them, to be honest, just based off their looks, but we'll see. Next, I quickly made a sword for the player, keeping the same color scheme. After that, I got to work on a custom enemy, a Cyclops with white skin and red tattoos. Of course, I also made him a battle axe. Finally, I spent a while making the actual open world a massive island. Alright, I finished the map finally, so also added some post-processing as well, and I'm really happy with how it turned out, so let me just play it really quick. But first of all, I think the post-processing makes it a lot better, obviously, but I think the aesthetics work together really well with the low poly, kind of like stylized work, graphics, whatever I meant to say. But yeah, I think it works really well. All of this foliage, and there's a lot of foliage here, if I go in and look. All of this foliage is run with zero optimization. Everything is being rendered, and surprisingly I'm getting pretty decent frames, so I am really happy for the assets that I found, so shout out to the makers of those. I don't remember the names, but I'll list it in the description. And here's the map as well, so it's not like gigantic, but I think it can kind of count as an open world for sure, at least how it's structured. But I'm really happy with how it turned out. Obviously, if I were to update things, I'd want like easier ways of traversal, because moving across your own foot kind of sucks, and then like fill it out more structures and stuff like that. But for this like prototype, this works perfectly fine, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. Everything that is left now, I need a health bar, some spawners, and then of course a leveling system, so I'm gonna get to work on that right now. After that, I made a health bar and got to work on a spawner system, but that had some issues. Finally, after making an XP and leveling system, the game was complete, and I showed the game to my dad. I'm just gonna do an intro. Alright, finally, the game is complete. So now we have the man, the myth, the legend, Dad Man. Real fans will know what that is. But here's my dad, and he's gonna play the game for the first time. This is his live reaction. So here we go. But go ahead, walk around, give it a try. Alright, it's like a cool island for you to explore. You got your health over here. Is your level, okay?
Okay.
And then as you move around, I'll go through the controls, okay? So.
Wait, so I like the swing
By
grass.
the way, the map was assets, but the characters I 3D modeled. So
You 3D modeled this dude?
Yep.
That's
First time
pretty
making
cool.
hairstyle. Thank you. Alright, so go ahead and click to attack. And then if you click several times in succession, it does like a combo attack.
Oh, he kicks.
Yeah. And then go ahead and look around. Let me know if you see any enemies.
There's
Look
a
around
thing
below.
over there.
Yeah, there's one thing there, and he's look around there. There's one over there.
Ah, he's
So
right behind me.
those are Cyclops that I also 3D modeled. And the normal AI, right? They'll move around to see you. They'll attack you with their own combo attacks. But if you kill them, your XP bar will level up. And the more XP you get, eventually you'll level up, right?
I'm gonna get this dude.
If you level up, you'll do more damage. So right now you only do 5 damage, but as you level up, you do more damage. Works is so there's
Light
like
work.
very light, and then you can wait for him to respawn, or you can go to one of the other.
Ah, don't respond. Ah! Now he sees me.
Use the arrow keys, not the USB. Unfortunately, while he was playing, there was some major spawning issues, and there's way more enemies than there's supposed to be. If I ever come back to this project, I'll definitely have to fix that. I see running on top of it. Oh my god.
Whoa, hold up.
How does this even work?
There you go. Alright. Well, another one's dropping.
Okay, so yeah, spawning more. That's weird. The max number was 1, not spawning was 5. Oh, sorry.
I'm gonna do this all day till I level up to 80. Be there.
And then Ryan Chan.
Damn, man. Alright. Let's go take down this pyramid.
Fix that. What the heck is?
I'm gonna take them from
Should I
their
fix it or should I keep it as a feature?
visuals. Whoa. Okay. What about this herd of them over here?
What the heck? I swear I said it maxed them out. What is going on? It's supposed to be 1 per spawner.
Who wants some, guys? You?
Yeah, they're overpopulated. That was my attempt at making an open world RPG game. Obviously, it's more of a template, but it technically is an open world game, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out, especially considering I got to make my own characters for this game. This was more of a project to test my skills, and I likely will use it again when learning new mechanics related to RPG games. So if you guys want to see me make more games like this, then subscribe, and if I do update this, there'll definitely be more devlogs, so make sure to turn on the notifications. With that, I'll see y'all in the next video.